There's a crucial molecule in your body that helps control everything. Your circulation, your energy, your stamina, your heart, even your sharpness of mind. It's called nitric oxide. But after age 40, your body makes less and less of it. Less blood flow, less stamina, less of you. But now there's N101, the nitric oxide lozenge developed by Dr. Nathan Bryan, the world's leading nitric oxide researcher backed by Nobel Prize-winning science. N101 is designed to naturally restore your body's nitric oxide levels. Just do what I do and let one dissolve in your mouth twice a day. I especially make sure to take it before workouts. N101 goes to work in minutes, releasing nitric oxide directly into your bloodstream, supporting healthy circulation, boosting oxygen delivery to your muscles and brain, helping you feel the way you're supposed to feel. More energy, better blood flow, sharper focus. Day after day. N101, it's the science of you working better. Visit HoffmanNO.com. That's HoffmanNO.com and use coupon code Hoffman10 for 10% off N101.
Welcome to Leyla Weighs In. I'm your host, Leyla Muedin. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist here in New York City. If you'd like to make an appointment, call the number 212-779-1744, 212-779-1744. If you'd like to email me with questions, topics of interest that you'd like to hear me discuss on this podcast, weigh in on, that email is questions@drhoffman.net, questions@drhoffman.net. We've been getting a whole lot of questions for the Q&A with Leyla series, which I know you've been hearing a few reruns in previous weeks. That's because Dr. Hoffman's been on vacation, and I'm sure he's going to talk all about that on a podcast coming up soon. Anyway, today, I want to talk to you about exercise, the different types of exercise, right? Cardio, strength training, all of that. But have you heard of eccentric exercise? No, that's not exercise for eccentric people, but of course it could be, because apparently eccentric exercise is for everyone. This is out of Integrative Practitioner. They say that eccentric exercise could deliver better results than strenuous exercise. So let's dive into that one. Muscle soreness is usually thought to be part of building muscle size, right? Strength and performance. But new research says actually otherwise. You know, when you get sore after an intense workout, you may be sore the next day, or you might not even feel the soreness until day 2. That's because when we're doing strenuous exercise, we are creating micro tears in our muscles, and that is repairing, that is helping with the buildup of muscle size, and strength and performance. Well, researchers are saying that eccentric exercise may deliver better results compared to strenuous workouts that cause muscle damage and delayed onset muscle soreness. The acronym for delayed onset muscle soreness is DOMS, D-O-M-S. And that's what I was just alluding to earlier. You may not feel sore right after exercise or even the next day, but maybe the day after. Anyway. So the researchers are saying that you can gain strength without feeling as exhausted. So you get more benefit for less effort, says the researcher. And this is research out of Edith Cowan University in Australia. And by the way, this study is published in the Journal of Sport and Health Science. where they go into great detail about the benefits of eccentric exercise and urged further research on how it may contribute to overall health. Yes, I hear you. I hear you. What exactly is eccentric exercise? Right? Muscle contractions are split into 3 categories. Isometric. You remember isometrics when you bear down or clasp your hands together and push your arms to, isometric exercises where you're holding the contraction, right? That's isometric. Then there's concentric and eccentric. Eccentric muscle contractions occur when the muscles are lengthened, usually during the lowering phase of movement, such as letting down a dumbbell and walking downstairs. These are eccentric muscle contractions. In eccentric muscle contractions, the muscle produces less force than the load it is resisting and so lengthens under the tension. Conversely, during concentric contractions, the muscle generates more force than load, causing it to shorten. That's when you're lifting up on your bicep curl, for example, walking up the stairs. These are the examples of concentric muscle contractions. And in isometric contractions, the muscle produces equal force to the load, so the length does not change. The difference between eccentric exercise and standard exercise is the focus on lengthening, which is the eccentric phase of a movement, giving part of the movement a longer duration. Think about your bicep curl. You've curled up and then you're lengthening and you're taking your time with the downward movement of that, the lengthening part. So unlike concentric and isometric exercises, eccentric exercise allows greater mechanical loading with lower perceived effort, which makes it ideal for strength development and rehabilitation. Think, lower perceived effort. Who doesn't want that? Because, strength training takes effort, but lower perceived effort, that alone makes you say, hey, I want to do more of this. So it makes it ideal for strength development as well as rehabilitation. These moves also tend to cause less fatigue, enabling people to perform more repetitions at the same relative intensity and experience smaller drops in strength during repeated maximal efforts. Additionally, eccentric exercises can be used by a broad range of people, regardless of age, health conditions, and activity levels. Quote, these movements mirror what we already do in daily life, say the researchers. That makes them practical, realistic, and easier to stick with. Now, with that said, eccentric exercises require more focus and control, placing a higher cognitive load on the person performing them. However, the benefits of eccentric exercise are promising. The researchers wrote that eccentric exercise should be standard practice and made common, accessible, and widely accepted as the new normal of exercise to improve life performance and high athletic performance. This is good. This is actually good. And it's also mindful because you have to pay attention when you're doing the lengthening portion. I'm using the bicep curl as an example. You know, when you're lowering the dumbbell in your hands down away from your bicep, you're taking your time with that particular move. Think about walking down the stairs. This is the lengthening portion. So walking down the stairs certainly is perceived to be easier than walking up the stairs, which takes more effort. It's true. Right. So they say that eccentric exercises is for everyone, for older adults, patients, for sedentary people. Eccentric exercise is suitable for most of their physical activity needs because of its low intensity and accessibility. The researchers wrote that a study conducted by a team of researchers from National Taiwan Normal University, University of Taipei, and Edith Cowan University in Australia, where elderly obese women walk downstairs twice a week for 12 weeks. Elderly obese women walk downstairs twice a week for 12 weeks. This is in the journal Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise. Okay. Participants were split into two groups: descending stair walking and ascending stair walking. For the descending stair walking group, they took an elevator to avoid going up the stairs, right? While the ascending stair walking group descended the stairs. The results of that study revealed improved cardiovascular function, insulin sensitivity, and cholesterol levels, as well as increased isometric contraction strength in the descending stair walking group, the DSW group, descending stair walking. The researchers emphasized how the study showed it was possible to introduce walking down the stairs without muscle damage by gradually increasing the exercise load. Now, of course, as most researchers say, future research is recommended. But in this case, future research is recommended to investigate the mechanisms of the effects of eccentric exercises in comparison to other exercise types. So for athletes, eccentric exercise training plays an important role in improving strength, power, speed, and change of direction performance, while also reducing the risk of injury. It leads to specific adaptations in both the muscles and connective tissues that are especially useful for movements involving slowing down and absorbing force that are common in many sports. Furthermore, eccentric strength training produced similar improvements in concentric and isometric strength. This suggests that eccentric focused training can broadly enhance neuromuscular function, which is critical for athletic performance. However, it is still unclear whether eccentric-only training by itself is enough to fully improve sport-specific performance, since athletes also need to train movements unique to their sport, right? More research is needed to better understand how eccentric training leads to these neuromuscular adaptations. Now, the researchers also cited a study from the European Journal of Applied Physiology, where a team of researchers from Edith Cowan University had participants partake in a 5-minute home-based eccentric exercise routine over an 8-week period. The routine included chair squats, wall push-ups, chair reclines, and heel drops. Exercises that do not require special equipment. I love that because it's just best to use, in my opinion, the weight of your own body, right? We're talking real life. So the results not only showed improved muscle strength, flexibility, and mental health, but it also demonstrated incentive in 90% of the participants to continue with regular exercise beyond the study. This highlights a smoother transition period from sedentary to active for people who are just getting into exercise and decreases the chances of lowered motivation. Quote, when exercise feels achievable, people keep doing it, say the researchers. With its low intensity, easy accessibility, and improvements in muscle strengthening and performance, eccentric exercise is a suitable form of physical activity that has great benefits and promising long-term effects. The researchers called eccentric exercise an ideal intervention for everyone. So this is a nice article by Irene Yeh, Y-E-H, Irene Yeh, Y-E-H, or Yee. Eccentric exercise could deliver better results than strenuous exercise, and they've outlined this in the Journal of Sport and Health Science in terms of more journals where this is talked about. There's Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise. That's the other journal, as well as the European Journal of Applied Physiology. And this last one that I just talked about, where they had participants partake in a 5-minute home-based eccentric exercise routine over an 8-week period. Hey, who can't commit to 5 minutes at home over an 8-week period? You're doing chair squats, wall push-ups, chair reclines, heel drops. You may want to look these up so you know what you're doing, what a chair squat is, the wall push-up. Look for the pictures, the chair reclines, the heel drops, because these are exercises that do not require special equipment, right? Everybody has a chair. Everybody's got walls. And the results, strikingly, they not only showed improved muscle strength, flexibility, but also in mental health. And when the exercises are perceived to be not as strenuous as the other strength training exercise, the concentric moves, even the isometric moves. And a great example of isometric is doing the plank. When you're holding the plank position for 30 seconds, and then you rest. You do it again for 30 seconds. Try to do 3. That's isometric, right? But doing the eccentric exercises, this is really, I want to look into more about this because this will help people stay motivated. Nobody looks forward to doing strenuous anything, including exercise. Who wants to put forth the effort? But you know what? These eccentric exercises are a thing. And think about it. It's been talked about in previous years where, coming back to my example of the bicep curl, the lowering part is also very strengthening in its lengthening and is working the muscle in a different way. and perceived as a little less vigorous or strenuous, which then you look forward to because it's a little bit more easy to do. And you're taking your time. You're taking longer to lower the dumbbell from in the bicep curl than to pull it up. You're pulling it up, but then you're taking, say, twice, 3, 4 times as long to lower it. That's the eccentric part of the exercise. Wouldn't you love to take the elevator up to the 6th floor of your building or whatever floors you're on and walk down the stairs instead of having to walk up? We've been talking about walk up the stairs instead of taking the elevator. Now you can walk down the stairs if you don't feel like walking up the stairs. So feel free to walk down the stairs when you're leaving for work or going to do your errands, and maybe, take the elevator back up because you've walked down the stairs. It's something. In my opinion, it's still good to be walking up the stairs as well. But hey, let's be a little eccentric in our exercise. Why not? Again, if you want to email me, that email is questions@drhoffman.net, questions@drhoffman.net. I want to thank you for joining me on another edition of Leyla Weighs In. This is Intelligent Medicine.
I want to thank you for listening to the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app, and get new episodes automatically downloaded every weekday. And please give us a rating and review. It truly helps new people discover intelligent medicine. The Intelligent Medicine Podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice, and no doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of information on this podcast or materials linked from this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they may have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. Finally, please visit drhoffman.com and discover everything Intelligent Medicine has to offer, including frequently updated, unbiased health news and fully vetted product and supplement recommendations.
This is Leyla Muedin, registered dietitian nutritionist. I maintain a private practice and see patients regularly. If you require a nutrition consult with me but live out of town, there's no need to travel to New York City. I have telephone and telehealth consultations with clients from all over the country. Please visit drhoffman.com for more information. And to set up an appointment, call 212-779-1744. That's 212-779-1744. I look forward to being a collaborator in your healthcare.